Hey everybody, how's it going? I was sitting around the other day feeling quite uninspired by a lot of new releases. Nothing's really piquing my interest, to be quite honest. So I was thinking, right, let's dig through some old stuff. What have I got lying around in my folders? I was digging around in my IRs folder and I found these Jay-Z IRs for Slipknot's Iowa album. And I thought, God, when did I get these? I think it's years ago at this point. And yeah, I've never really tried them, and they're amazing. They're outstanding. I mean, it perfectly captures the sound of Mick and Jim's tones. So let's just listen to the demo. This is me sending up Slipknot, doing my best to emulate their sound from the IR album. It's not a full song because I tried to sound like Corey and I'd sort of embarrassed myself, so I've just done one scream. I'll stop talking. Here it is. So what I was going for there, guys, is something like, My Plague, Heretic Anthem, New Abortion, the stuff that's in drop A, the big, low, thunderous, ominous riffs from that album. I mean, the whole album's, big, thunderous, and ominous, but those tracks kind of stand out. And just did a couple of riffs, I thought were kind of Slipknot-ish. And the guitars, I'll just solo them out. I mean, it's almost dead on those tones. How Jason at Jay-Z IR does it, he just has perfectly matched tones from pretty much any metal album you can think of. And if he hasn't done one yet, he'll probably do one for you if you ask him. So here the guitar's soloed. That is as close as you're gonna get. I can't think of anyone else who's got a tone more similar to Iowa than that. I'll just show you the chain. This is the right guitar. An A808 as a boost, and I'm going into Blades. This is an older version of Blades. I love this amp. It's just got a perfect tight modern metal tone. I really like it, and it works for old stuff too. Now the way Jason says to load up your amp sim when you're going through his IRs, leave everything in its default state and it should sound like the record. Obviously alter your output and your gain, and you're supposed to leave the tone stack at noon. But I am brightening on the master track, so I've taken the treble down on the amp. So bear this in mind, when you're using his IRs, remember that they're from finished, mastered releases. They're matched to, Iowa, for example, it was mastered, probably brightened on the way out, all that kind of thing. So when you're in a session, and if you have things going on the master track like I do, brightening things up, you're gonna have to compensate somewhere, either turn that stuff off or compensate the amp, compensate the EQ, just bear that in mind. So I've got the treble down a little bit and the presence down a little bit too. Then we're going into the IR, and this one is matched to Blades, and it's got all the Vita amp stuff here. I mean, he's got, name an amp sim, he's got you covered. Neural stuff, ML Sound Lab stuff, even some NAMM stuff's been covered. I mean, just look at the list of stuff he covers. I mean, it's crazy. So the way it works is, this is the guitar on the right, matched to Blades. I load that up. If I was using something else by Vadim, say I'm using the MK4 or whatever, the Proto 4, I would use that IR, and it's more of a matched tone, and it's matched to that amp. So that's how that works. And it's dead on. I mean, I've said it a couple of times already. I mean, that is the tone. Just a bit of EQ on the way out. Standard stuff I do, just to fit it with my mix. Second guitar, again, it's pretty much the same. I think it might be slightly darker. Not sure, I might have taken the treble down a little bit more. Not too sure. And this is the left matched one. And he has a blend of both guitars as well, but that's not the tone used on the album. So I just wanted to go with the right and the left. Pretty much the same EQ again. Got an over on the bus. Pretty much just doing the anti-sneap trick. Further high pass, anti-sneap trick. It's only reducing a tiny bit though. There's a fair bit of noise on this. When you have a scooped guitar sound, more often than not, the high mids will just be like shh. pitch, you know, sticking out like crazy. I've covered this stuff before, reducing a fair bit there, reducing 4 dB at 3.3K. Horrible frequencies around here on guitar. Right, the vocals. I just did a single scream. Like, again, you know, I thought, I'll do a whole song, and I thought, God, I just don't sound like Corey. You know, no one does. Iowa, his screams on that album, his harsh vocals are absolutely legendary. Probably the best ever. You know, you can fight me on that. Anything, brutal death metal, deathcore, old school death metal, you can't beat Corey on that album. It's just devastating. And this is me just sort of sending it up. Tried to do my best Heretic Anthem scream. You know, I don't know, it's all right. Very simple EQ on vocals. I don't really do any crazy stuff on vocals. Compressing pretty hard. Fast attack and release. This is Expressa Nuke. It's completely free. I think Kive Audio took it down a while back, but you can still get this on some sites. I think like plugins for free might have it. De-esser because, you know, I mean, listen to my voice. There's a lot of sibilance. And then Head Crusher free, driving it a little bit more than usual just to get that aggressive sort of analog-y sound. I mean, the sound of Iowa is very analog because they recorded it at Sound City to tape, done the old school way. You know, everything's like kind of natural sounding on that album, very raw. I mean, Slipknot were trendsetters with their riffs and adding the death metal element into nu metal, and they definitely took things to extremes on this album. I feel the albums after this definitely toned things down a little bit. Production wise too, this is just the most like aggro production ever, and I really like it. Now the bass track, BOD, this is pretty much what I always use. I've just put the high end up a little bit to get a bit more like pick attack out the bass. All the usual stuff I use, but I don't have the parallel distorted track going because to my ears, it's just Paul Gray, the legend, going through an amp and a cab. That's what it sounds like to me. So I just wanted to sort of emulate that sound. And with the drums, you know, it just sounds thunderous. Play hard, play tight, and it should sound cool. And now the drums. I'm using Ultimate Heavy drums because they sound cool. And I saw when I was doing the demo, it's got a Not Slipping kit preset, which is very much like the first album, the first Slipknot album, but you know, it kind of worked for Iowa too. And the snare, very cracky, very poppy, very like high tuned. Doing my best Joey beats, you know, Joey's an absolute legend. It's pretty much just that preset. Got the auto double kick on. I think I took the snare down like a little bit because it was popping out very loud. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I think, and I went on the Transmaster. Yeah, and I just sort of brought the attack and the sustain up like a little bit. And that is about it. I've just got an EQ on this just to keep it tight. Yeah, just a little shelf at 65 hertz there. On the master, I've got all the usual stuff I use. I'll link that video down below, won't go into all that. And that is it, guys. Check out the links below. Thanks for watching. And what do you think? Did I completely butcher the sound? Does it sound nothing like Slipknot? Or do you think I got quite close? Let me know below. Cheers. Thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. And subscribe if you want to see more metal related stuff. I'll be back sometime with a video on something else. So until then, ciao.